but just want to welcome you all here to Lombardi Sports, an anchor institution in the city and county of San Francisco, at least for those of us that grew up in the city. It's a generational responsibility to shop at Lombardi. I say that not as mayor, but as a fifth-generation San Franciscan, and I'm very appreciative that they open up their business to us today and will open up their books to us today in terms of exposing one of the areas where we think we can make a real impact in terms of reducing the costs of operation here in the city and county of San Francisco for businesses like Lombardi, both large and small business, and reduce our greenhouse gas emissions at the same time. A lot has been said about the importance of environmental stewardship. A lot has been brought to the forefront in terms of the issue in relationship to this Economic Recovery and Reinvestment Act. A lot of focus and attention has been placed on the idea of energy efficiency and energy retrofits and weatherization programs and replacing old refrigerators and replacing old lighting systems and focusing on making sure that we have up-to-date technology as it relates to the systems of energy use and generation. This is a living example of what all of that means and how that manifests in terms of real savings. I will save for the subsequent speakers the details about what this business now is saving. It's extraordinary. And the question then becomes, why is it that business across this city, all business across the city, is not taking advantage of these extraordinary savings? And I think it's two reasons. One is businesses, large and small, are doing everything they can just to keep the doors open in this economy, and they're working hard. And while we always want to work smarter, it's sometimes difficult in a reactionary environment. You're worried more about getting your inventory in and getting your inventory on display and making sure your SKU numbers match with the register and making sure the person didn't show it up doesn't not show up again, or making sure the person that is newly trained understands the difference between Oakley glasses and E or GUO supplemental. I don't know what that is, but I'm looking across there at some fancy formula. And so oftentimes businesses don't have the opportunity to reflect and look outward at making an investment that will save a substantial amount of money, not necessarily today, but 6 months from now, a year from now, 6 years from now. And that's why we're here, to announce our next effort and our own reinvestment strategy locally. And this is, by the way, part of our local economic stimulus strategy we announced a few weeks ago, to begin to focus in a more strategic way on reaching out to small businesses throughout San Francisco and doing energy audits and providing resources, upfront contributions, capital dollars, to help businesses retrofit, to replace lighting, to replace air and heating systems, to replace refrigeration systems, to make sure they're more energy efficient and make sure that there's a real cost savings as well as a greenhouse gas savings. We call it Energy Watch. We have Power Savers program. This one is an Energy Watch program. In the last 2 years, over 1,500 businesses have benefited from our Energy Watch program. We have saved the equivalent of $22+ million a year for these small businesses in terms of their energy costs. That is not insignificant. $22 million on an annual basis. Annualize that over the next decade. That's $250 million of energy cost savings just for these 1,500 small businesses. We have, since we initiated this program, reduced energy use by some 6 megawatts. And with this new commitment of $3.7 million and this renewed effort and outreach, we think we'll decrease our megawatt consumption by an additional 3 megawatts. This, in terms of equivalency, and Jared Bloomfeld will talk in a moment about the total amount of tons of greenhouse gas reduction, is north of 16,000 tons. He can talk more eloquently in more detail about that. But this is exactly what we need to be doing right now. If businesses are struggling, if businesses are having a difficult time how can we, in terms of that recovery and that relationship we have in terms of the macroeconomic realities, how can we reduce costs in this interim in a very strategic way that aligns with our social compact and our agenda in terms of greenhouse gas reduction? This is how we do it. This is the proverbial "and" that we talk about. Save money and save the environment. The double bottom line as it is in this case, but ultimately inuring to that triple bottom line that so many of us talk about. And I just want to express my appreciation to the Public Utilities Commission for all their outstanding leadership on this, the Department of Environment for their great work on this, and to our partners in the private sector that are doing the real work and are getting new work. And this is the final point. We have a good friend, Julian, from Green for All, organization that is, I'm sure, familiar to you because we've had his colleague, Van Jones, here on a lot of similar announcements. He is now running the green-collar job work for President Obama. This is about creating jobs as well, not just saving businesses money. The Green for All program is about inspiring this type of investment to inspire workforce training opportunities and provide real job opportunities for people that are in the business of lighting retrofits. And you're going to hear from a number of people whose jobs have doubled, whose company's business has increased by over 100% since we initiated some of these programs because of these incentives and because of the market that exists. These are the jobs where you're seeing job growth, not job contraction. These are the jobs of the future. These are the jobs of the present. And I think that's also an important narrative, an important part of this effort as well. Green-collar jobs, reducing the cost of business operations, and reducing greenhouse gas emissions with grants that are aggregated, that exist, but that can be drawn down in a much more strategic and aligned manner, all part of this recovery and reinvestment strategy. This, to me, is what it's all about, and this is a manifestation of a lot of the rhetoric coming out of Washington, D.C., and that's why we thought we'd do this announcement here today at Lombardi Sports. With that, I'll turn it over to our MC, who still has a voice, because I'm literally losing mine. Jared Blumenfeld will talk a little bit more and introduce the folks behind me.
Thank you. The mayor was actually a little bit modest. I mean, when you hear the rhetoric coming out of Washington, D.C., it sounds like green jobs and energy efficiency is a new idea. When the mayor first got elected back in 2004, we had a fight because this money was not going to San Francisco. And back then, no one really had even heard of green jobs. And the mayor said, we need to get this money to help close down Hunters Point Power Plant. People at that point, everyone had fought to... I can't, I go by that on my bicycle once a week. I think it's the most incredible landmark in San Francisco. It doesn't exist anymore. Hunters Point Power Plant does not exist. And largely it's because the mayor got the money to help businesses in San Francisco save money and save energy. And it created a lot of jobs at the same time. So we really already have a legacy that improved environmental justice, improved energy efficiency, and improved the bottom line. And this business that we're in today, Lombardi Sports, has been here over 60 years. They made a commitment to the future, not only of their bottom line, but their employees. The light is better, and to the future of humanity through saving greenhouse gas. So right now, it's my great pleasure to introduce Steve Lombardi. Where is Steve?
Steve.
Steve.
You're supposed to talk. Come on over here. Tell everybody what you just told me.
So yeah, Steve is working so hard that there's just a few cameras, Steve.
What would you like me to say?
Why you did it? And
why'd you did it, and what does it mean? It's cost you money, and is it costing you money every month?
No, we cut our electrical bill in half. So the electrical bill was $6,000 and change. It's now $2,500 to $2,700.
So the question I asked you is, what took you so long?
Like I said, I was waiting for you.
That's cute. But,
see, he liked that.
Of course I like that. But, I mean, that's an extraordinary savings. I imagine when you initiate this program or this idea was conceived, you didn't imagine that kind of savings.
No, matter of fact, when Charlie first came in, where's Charlie? When he first came in, the savings that were presented were so high that, you questioned it. It didn't seem reasonable. But we had metal halide lights in here before, which were 15 years ago, were considered the most energy efficient. And these are all basically a low energy transformer system on these 4 bays. And we also put them on timers, and the timers were Charlie's idea, and that was substantial. It helped about 10 to 20% in efficiency. Right. So we have, I mean, you look at these fixtures in a building this size, about 70,000 square feet. I don't know, we had 250 of them, Charlie. I mean, it's a lot. And so those savings add up. But it's the new ballast technology, if I stand corrected, Charlie, explain it. But it's the new ballast technology that created all this.
Right. So you're, I imagine, here to say that other businesses should take advantage of this same opportunity.
Yeah. It's not big on finance to sell that one. It's easy. It's easy.
And how long did it take to
this was done in about 4 weeks from top, because we had to work around the retail environment. So we were working between customers and coming in early or staying late on certain days, and then we did the garage and everything else.
And how much did it cost you out of pocket?
Out-of-pocket expense was about $20,000, $25,000.
And the payback on that?
Well, it's less than a year.
Less than a year.
Yeah, we're talking roughly. It was about a 7-8 month payback.
Yeah.
You're smiling. I'm smiling.
Okay.
It worked. It worked.
That's great. Charlie, you want to talk a little bit more about what specifics, what kind of things you did here?
Yeah, well, Steve was a hard sell, and as he said, he was skeptical that the $2,500 or plus a month were really going to be saved.
I was so skeptical I made him put it in writing.
And guarantee the savings. And we were really pleased because we didn't know when he took all those old metal halides out what the transformation would really look like, and it made the store look nicer,
Actually,
in my opinion.
Actually, the fluorescents produce a better light than the metal halide. Right. They don't distort the lights on the apparel. So this is actually better. The point is that 15 years ago, metal halide was it. The high bay metal halides were what you put in for energy efficiency. So in 15 years, we've gone from that to this, which is a 50% energy drop, easy.
Yeah. And Charlie, tell us, you have a company that does this work, and are you laying people off in this economy like everyone else, or you actually seen business start to increase?
Yeah, actually, we started Energy Watch with 5 employees, and they're now 10. And
so close to that so they can hear you at home. Smile.
Yeah,
I'm not sure many people are watching, but it's an interesting group of people that watch Channel 26. I'm one of them.
We
had I don't know what that
means. We had the good fortune of hiring several people out of the Samoan community who turned out to be great friends and employees, and with a little luck, there'll be a few more new hires.
So you literally doubled your total number of employees.
Yeah.
And some of them are here, so maybe bring them up, Charlie.
Yeah.
You have some here, right?
Yeah.
Right. All of them. These are the people.
Yeah, these are the guys that do the actual work.
These are green collar jobs.
This is Nico and Lee, and they're the ones that get up on the ladders and take the old fixtures down and retrofit the new fixtures. So.
What were you guys doing before you started here?
Before here, I was working, doing the same thing for another company.
Right.
But that's about it.
Yeah.
How about you, Lee?
I was working at the airport for about 10 years.
Oh, yeah, airport?
Yeah, handling cargo.
Interesting. We didn't lay you off, did we?
Actually, no.
Thank God. Because I've met a few people apparently I've laid off. It's not an enjoyable experience. But at least you got a job now. We're trying to create new opportunity for you. That's great. Jared?
So, just to explain the program, the money that comes in is from the public goods charge. So everyone pays 3% of their electricity bill. Is called a public goods charge. That money we want to go back into people's pockets. So we devised a program that hired nonprofits, a group called Ecology Action. They hired about 10 people. They went out into the community and surveyed every store, from mom and pop stores to a large mom and pop store like Lombardi's. They'd give a free energy audit, and then they work on the math. Everyone wants a payback period that's less than a year. They then work with Charlie Friel to get the people to actually do the work. The thing that amazes me, the mayor and I go to these press conferences where you hear a lot about green jobs. I've never actually seen a lot of green jobs unless it's the ones that we created. So, I think the media owes it to the public to say, show me some actual people that are doing green jobs. We can show you people that have been employed for a long time doing green jobs, and they'll continue to be doing this. I actually asked yesterday, we had some of the folks come in and say, what percentage do you think's been done? And, the mayor and I have been involved in roundtables. I always thought the number of, opportunity out there was a lot less than what we'd already done. We've done 7,000 small businesses. We saved them $20 million a year, as the mayor said, 40,000 tons of CO2. They estimate we've only done about 40% of all the businesses in the city that need our help. So there's 60% of businesses like this that can save upwards of 40% on their energy bills every single month that we're waiting to really talk to. And I think the story behind Charlie is that he's a local business. He's not, we're not trucking people in from the Central Valley. These are people that are from San Francisco that want jobs, and now they have them. And that's really, really important. The last person that we're going to hear from today, we heard about Van Jones' his progress. It's great. To me, the best thing about Van Jones getting, is hopefully that he can't give any money to Green for All because he's conflicted out, so we can get all that money. Yeah. So Julian McQueen is from Green for All. They're a human rights and green jobs training program based in Oakland, and thank you for coming across the bay.
Yeah, pleasure. Thank you for having me. And I live here in San Francisco, so I appreciate the work that you're all doing. So I'm glad you said that. We do have a conflict of interest with Van. We will not be seeing any of that money. Unfortunately, he's working with Obama to make sure that it's well spent. But I think that's okay because, as is evidenced here today, cities really have the opportunity to lead the way and show how this can look, show how this can actually create jobs for real people in real places. We talk a lot about, at Green for All, we talk about this is the year that we have to go from inspiration to implementation. And that over these last couple of years, people like Van, people like Gavin and others have been talking about green jobs and have sold green jobs and have, through their rhetoric, made it believable for a lot of people from the president on down. But that this is the year that we actually have to show the jobs on the ground, that we actually have to implement the programs from training to job creation that will help train people to be ready for these jobs and create the market that will sustain these jobs for the short term and the long term. And I think particularly now we have the recovery package that has over $3 billion headed straight to cities like San Francisco, to be spent in any number of ways. But the challenge is to make sure that it's spent on smart programs that show results quickly, like here at Lombardi, where they have a return in less than a year. We need to show that this can be done, and it's programs like this that will do it. So it's a real pleasure to be here today on behalf of Green for All. We're out doing the work, trying to do the advocacy and the policy work to make this real. These are the real people that are actually doing the real work, the hard work of where the rubber hits the road, where the jobs are created, where energy is saved, where the planet is saved, and where our communities are uplifted. So thank you for having us, and it's a real pleasure.
Thanks, Charlie. Thanks, Charlie. One of the things the mayor has really pushed us all to think about is there are businesses like Lombardi's that are going to do it. They want to do the right things. They want to save money, but some businesses just don't want to do it. So in the very near future, it will be illegal to have the old light fixtures. The mayor said a year ago, you know what? Forget banning incandescent lights. They're going to be history anyway. We need to ban the old inefficient lighting, these linear fluorescent tubes. The big fat ones that are leaking energy are called T12s. Those will be banned. So really the equation is now you can help the economy, you can help your business, you can help the planet, or you can wait and be fined by the city in a few years when you haven't done the right thing. So right now we have money to help you. That money helps the community, helps the business. You can wait. You don't need to do it. But then the mayor's saying to us, make sure they're fined, and that's exactly what will happen.
Sounds so negative.
It is. But do the right thing now and be positive.
What I do love about the city is we're not having a debate about fluorescence versus incandescence. We're actually having a debate about what type of more energy efficient light bulbs. And you have these old T12s, that thicker tube, and now you have T8s and T5s, which are more efficient versions. And it occurred to us in the city we can actually mandate some requirements, not only from our own municipal purchasing side that will only purchase more energy efficient bulb, but we can actually regulate the sale of some of these bulbs. And so we actually introduced legislation, and we're processing it. We decided to hold it back a little bit because I've got this energy efficiency task force that's a green building task force, but their second effort is now focusing on looking at energy retrofits and lighting retrofits in all existing buildings and looking at codes and other regulations. This is that whole idea of every year we do this, or at least the last 2 years, where we have lights out in San Francisco, and then you've had this legislation that's twice been offered to shut down all the lights downtown. What we would like to do, I appreciate the symbolism of that. Substantively, I don't want to just turn off the lights downtown. I want to look at the entire city, residents, retail, business, both large and small, industrial and commercial. And we've got this work group whose purpose is to come up with guidelines and strategies to dramatically look at the totality of our energy use in the city. So it will be much more significant and broader than just turning out the lights after 2 in the morning when the cleanup crews are out of these larger buildings until 5 a.m. when people start coming back into the buildings. That may sound significant, but at the end of the day, it's less significant than the substance of doing it in a much more comprehensive manner. And so that's what this Green Building Task Force, this new group, is going to recommend in the next, 60 days, I think. Any questions?
Finally, one point really is, it's amazing. We just had the mayor of Taipei here. He came to look at the recycling center. We just had the Minister of Environment from Ireland here to look at recycling. Now people are coming on the stimulus money and saying, how do you do this energy efficiency stuff? So San Francisco, hopefully we'll have people, in our hotels coming to look at Lombardi to say, how did you do this? Because literally that's what's happened with recycling. We had a success. We're at 70%, whereas the rest of the nation's at 35%. The next largest direct install small business energy efficiency program is at about 400 businesses, the next largest in the nation. We've done 7,000. So really the order of magnitude scale difference between what's happening in San Francisco and what's happening in the rest of the nation is huge. And we really want to bring people here to say, you know what, learn from our mistakes, learn from our successes, see how we've done it, come talk to the mayor. The mayor always has, it's amazing how many heads of state ministers come to talk to the mayor about how did you do it in San Francisco? Because what people are realizing is if you can't get it done at the city level, it doesn't really matter what big national pronouncements you make.
But Jared's point, this is important, and it's not to pat him and everyone in his office on the back, but it's really important. It's absolutely true. I've been doing these conferences. I know that they've been written about, that we all come together and people are sharing their best practices, and it is literally about a couple hundred businesses that they've done outreach to. And in San Francisco, we're doing a couple hundred businesses every few months. The net aggregate is about 7,000, 6,000 something, but close to 7,000, 1,500 just with this specific. Remember, we have Power Savers, Energy Watch. We have all kinds of programs. This is the Energy Watch program we're promoting today. But we've really done a remarkable amount of outreach and substantially reduced those energy bills and the greenhouse gas consumption. Again, we're not there yet, but we're so much further along than others that it's absolutely true. People are coming in to see how it's done. And I keep saying, it's easy. There's nothing particularly complicated about this. It's just disenthralling people with the notion that it's hard, that it's just a limiting belief. So it's a mindset more than anything else. And it's getting folks like Steve just to stop for a moment and think. And it's not a critique, it's an observation. And say, where have you, that's why I joke with them, where have you been all these years? Think about it. You spent $250,000 in the last number of years. You just wasted all that money. That's serious money. That's all bottom line. That's money that would have gone right back into business, new inventory, could have who knows what he could have done with that. Hired all these new folks. So how many thousands of other businesses are out there that are wasting all this money when they could be saving it? And again, you can either grow your way out of a recession or you can cut your way out. Or you can find that third way, which is to be more efficient and find new ways of doing business, which is the approach that we've tried to take in terms of the government approach to solving this budget crisis, and as a former business owner, certainly the approach that I believe my former businesses are also trying to take, and this is that way. So again, we just hope you promote this That's why we're here. We want more people to learn about this. We've got another 3.7 million. I just signed legislation, or it's going through the board now, or it's just finally introduced. So the board will pass it, and that's just millions of dollars and more money out there. People need to go out and grab it, again, part of this local economic stimulus strategy. Any questions?
I have just a couple questions about this survey you did. So you hired this Oakland group, Green for All, and they came in
No.
and surveyed.
So Green for All is a separate. Green for All is a separate inspirational nonprofit that Van Jones used to head before he became the Green Jobs Advisor to President Obama. And they're a collaborator that we work with on designing programs, especially the very poorest of society, and how to bring them up to a place that they can be job ready for a job like this. So the group that we hired was called Ecology Action.
And you mentioned thousands of businesses. I mean, there's
7,000.
But there's. I was confused. Did you
Yeah.
survey somebody?
No. So.
Did you survey all the businesses, or
So
just
I'll explain how it's done. So in that case, we had 7 people from neighborhoods, from the local neighborhoods in San Francisco, go to all the businesses in that region, in that part of the city. And they would say, they would do a survey. In some cases, for instance, if you're a place that's only open 3 hours and you've got pretty new lights, we don't need to do it. So we probably surveyed 12,000 businesses, of which 7,000 said this is an offer that we want to participate in. And so we've changed the lighting or the refrigeration or the different people here from different applications of 7,000 businesses. And some are huge. So one of those businesses is UCF. UCSF is one, and USF. USF.
Have you surveyed downtown yet? Because
Yes.
that seems to be where
Right.
the whole thing is,
So-
about the lights out.
Well, they're two separate issues. So we mainly are doing the small and medium businesses. That's our program focus. So there's others, primarily PG&E, that targets the very large downtown buildings. That wasn't the focus of this program, and it won't be the focus. Really, traditionally, what we found is that people ignore the small businesses. The people that don't speak English as their first language, if you look statewide, they've been completely ignored by energy efficiency programs. So we said we want to target them. People that, mom and pop corner stores that exist all throughout San Francisco have completely been ignored by the utilities and other programs. So we really said we want to get the hard-to-reach folks that others have missed.
And is that because there was funding available to offer them? Is that why?
Well, there's an opportunity.
Energy and efficiency is energy and efficiency, whether it's in a small business or
Yes.
a big.
To us, it adds up. So 22 megawatts is enough to power 22,000 homes. That's how much the savings from those 7,000 businesses. And they save $20 million a year in aggregate, those 7,000 businesses. So it's a huge savings, and they were ignored because exactly what you just said. People believe that, they're too small. Why would we focus on them?
But we, as part of, that's it. Remember we did the green building standards?
Yeah.
Same group came back together, and they actually supplemented it with a lot of those big building owners and managers are part of this second group to look, to look more broadly than, they're looking, for example, I just sort of give you some hints of what they're talking about. Motion sensors in the buildings, so you don't have to turn things out. Key cards to initiate the lighting of the entire infrastructure of a building. The issues of banning these T12s versus T5s, or T8s. I want to do T5s. We have a debate about this. All these other strategies, these sort of phased-in requirements on energy efficiency as opposed to promotions and incentives that we think will get into all the buildings, not just downtown. So that's the big group.
You opened up this bag of worms a little bit. You mentioned the lights out thing. So I was just.
We were hoping to have the task force started about 45. I wanted them to get it done before we did the World Environment, because we did this last year. We're the only city that sponsored this last year, so I was hoping to get it done. And I should have Earth Hour, and I should have known that we'd have this introduced again, and got, because it gets, for whatever reason, more attention. But we're very aggressive on this, and I just think we can do more than just turn off the lights downtown, is my point.
So you don't support supervisory?
I don't not support it. I support doing much more. Again, you can't just at 5 o'clock turn out the lights. I was a janitor. I worked at 235 Montgomery. I worked at 1 California. I was there till 2 in the morning. We were cleaning, vacuuming, all up and down. You have to keep the lights on. And then at 4:45 in the morning, people are showing up to work at Schwab and other places. So, it's not as simple as, oh, we'll turn them on off hours. What's an off hour? You got 24/7 buildings. So it's a little more complicated. That's why we think it needs to be, it's symbolic, I get it, and it happened last year, and it happened around the Earth Hour program. But we've got this great group that's going to take it in a much strategic and thoughtful level. But I do support it in spirit. I said that last year, and that actually helped us initiate this new work group.
So what's the 1,500?
That's just with this Energy Watch. Again, you got all these other programs, Power Savers, Energy Watch, et cetera. So the 1,500 the last 2 years that have benefited from our previous Energy Watch work. And now we're adding another 3.7 million for this next round of Energy Watch work. So that's just specific to this program that we're promoting today.
So basically, in terms of timeline, it's 1,500 in the last 2 years, 7,000 in the last 8 years.
8 years, yeah.
And those 1,500 are part of this?
Yes.
Yeah. And that's why we have those two numbers. Sorry, we didn't clarify that.
7,000 over 8.
Yeah.
7.5 years, 8 years.
So was it called something other than Energy Watch before?
Yes, that's the mayor's point. We've had
different branding strategies. Power Savers didn't really work. Energy Watch works better. You got the CPUC as a version, PG&E. So this is the same strategy of energy retrofit.
And did all these businesses get some kind of financial assistance?
Yeah.
Yes.
So we pay, the sweet spot is small businesses don't know how long they're going to be in business. So they want to make sure the payback is less than a year. So we pay between typically 60 and 90% of the of the cost of the specific measure. It depends. So from refrigeration to heating, ventilation, air conditioning to lighting, the different things that we provide. We've even gone into some of the larger universities and hospitals to change their energy management system on their computers. Literally the payback for if you've got 1,000 computers in your business, you can save thousands and thousands of dollars in the first 6 months.
So how much did Lombardi's get for it?
So
Steve, how much money
Charlie, how much did Lombardi's get?
Roughly 60%.
So about the 25,000.
Of the 20,000?
So how much did you get, Steve? You put in 20,000. Did we put in about 45,000?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was basically, rough numbers were 20-something to 40-something.
Right.
Rough numbers.
Pretty good deal.
So you said, we're at 40%, you said of the businesses that could be?
Yeah, I mean...
So is that the 7,000, is that 7,000 40%, so it'd be...
Exactly.
Whatever.
But 40% of what?
This is storefront, really.
Okay.
This isn't second floor. This isn't...
Yeah, remember this Energy Watch is for retail.
Small and medium. Right.
65,000 altogether in the whole city.
Of storefronts?
Yeah.
That's why,
Yeah, that's what I was trying to find out.
there's just a number of different parts, yeah.
Right.
That are big business. But I guess the emphasis is there's work to be done, it's working, and people should take advantage of it, and these are the real jobs. This is not a lot of rhetoric anymore, it's reality.
Great. Thanks, everybody.
Thank y'all. Yeah, I'm getting the details this morning, and I'll be able to comment about it later this afternoon. Literally having a meeting in about an hour. And I'll let you know. Sorry. Yeah.